we've already covered an at-a-glance look at the Service Center within rmAppSuite Pro. So now let's actually go through a typical maintenance workflow using the app. This will give us a chance to really walk through the feature set, and we'll also see the impact of our activities on the rent manager side. So let's say I'm meeting with a tenant, and suddenly he informs me that his toilet seat is broken. Oddly enough, I have a replacement toilet seat out in my truck, because that's what I do. I drive around town with replacement toilet seats, waiting for my opportunity to ride in like a white knight, sitting atop a truck full of toilet seats. Long story short, this is going to be a quick fix. But to ensure that we have a complete record of work that we do each day, I should go ahead and create a new service issue. Now, from the main service screen, just tap the Add button in the bottom corner. This brings up a new service issue detail screen. First, we'll enter the title of the issue. This field is required and should be a one-line summary of the issue. Below this is the description field, where I can get a more detailed account of the issue than what we had in the title. It's also a good place to describe the work that needs to be completed for the issue to be considered resolved. If there's not enough room to see everything that you're typing, just tap this icon to enter a full screen view. The next field is for you to describe what action was taken to resolve the issue. We'll come back to this when we actually go in and complete this issue later. The remainder of the fields are drop-down menus that can further classify the nature, importance, and urgency of the issue. For status, we'll choose New, because this is indeed a new issue. For category, we'll choose Maintenance. Since I am taking care of the issue, I'll assign it to myself. For priority, I'll just leave this blank, since I'm taking care of it immediately. But priority is a great way to help other technicians out in the field prioritize their workload. These drop-down classifications are all optional, so you don't have to enter any of this if it isn't necessary. Since this issue is not part of a larger project, and we're not going to use a third-party vendor to complete the job, we'll leave both of those fields blank. I'll select today's date for the open date, as well as the due date. Then, just tap Create, which will create the new issue and bring us to its service screen. One more quick thing you can do is link a particular tenant to this issue. Not only is this a great practice for general auditing, but it enables you to call or text the tenant from the service issue screen. See? Now the communication icons are enabled. So, let's get to work. Now we just have to do the job. Before you start, make sure that you check in to track the time you spend on this issue. Do that by tapping this icon. If the icon changes, you know that you're clocked in. I'll even jump over to Rent Manager real quick and show you that we're checked in. Within Rent Manager, if we go to Services, Service Tech Map, you can see me checked in to this service issue. This is a quick and easy way to see where your service techs are out in the field. The green indicates that I'm currently checked into this issue at this location. Now let's say I was able to work on the issue for a while, but I couldn't fully resolve it. Okay, let's be real. I'm hungry and there's a Chipotle down the street. I can start by entering a history note saying what I've accomplished so far. Then I can check out of the issue. Checking out doesn't close the issue, but Rent Manager does calculate the time that I've spent on this issue so far and records it into the hours field. Furthermore, back in Rent Manager, my green indicator becomes red. This tells the office that I've checked out of the issue. Basically, this is my last known whereabouts. When I get back from my break, I can check back in to resume my work. So now, let's skip forward to the end of my toilet heroism.
A few moments later.
And we're all done. We can resolve this service issue now. So first, in order to change the status of the issue, we need to tap the Edit button and then change the status field to Resolved. We don't need to make any other changes to these classification fields, so tap Exit Edit Mode. We should go ahead and enter a resolution as well, so we have a note of what we actually did to resolve this request. Since I had to replace his toilet seat with a part that I had out in my truck, remember I keep them out in my truck, I'll want to add it to the parts and labor section in order to mark it off of our company's inventory. So select the property and the unit number, and then for the item, we'll choose the toilet seat. I want to invoice the tenant for the cost of this item, but we don't need to create a bill because I didn't need to go to the store to buy a replacement toilet seat. So we'll check the invoice option and tap Save. Now, depending on your workplace's policy, you may or may not need to capture a tenant signature before closing an issue. Since we are here with our tenant, let's go ahead and do that by tapping this button and having our tenant scribble their old John Hancock on the device. Now just tap that close toggle at the top because this service issue is fully resolved, and finally tap Submit. Looking back at Rent Manager one more time, submitting the closed service issue through rmAppSuite Pro has now checked us out of the service issue, as you can see on the updated Service Tech map. We can click the issue hyperlink in the pop-out to take us to that service issue. Notice that at the bottom in the history notes, it's kept record of our check-ins and check-outs, as well as the amount of time we spent on this issue. Taking care of issues out in the field has never been easier than with rmAppSuite Pro.